Well, good evening, and how's everyone doing tonight? All right, we're gonna try that again. We've got 800 of us here. Good evening. How is everyone doing tonight? Well, great. Well, thank you all for being here. For those of you who I have not met, my name is Trent Blaine. I'm serving as the interim president and CEO of Greater Twin Cities United Way, and I'm thrilled to be spending this evening with you. And I also know that you have many demands on your time, and just want to say how grateful we are that you've chosen to spend tonight with us. We're just thrilled. I'm also honored to welcome Angela Davis of Minnesota Public Radio. She's the new host. Yep.
That's my husband.
She's the new host of NPR News with Angela Davis and our fantastic MC tonight. Thank you, Angela, for being here.
Thank you so much, Trent. Hello, everybody. Hi. Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here tonight, to be among you, a room full of change makers. We have a great program for you tonight, and glad that you are all able to be here with us.
You know, there are many roads that have led us all here this evening, but we all share one thing in common for sure, and that is we all want to build a strong community. And so whether your passion is making sure all children get a great education, or helping a neighbor with the essentials like food and housing, or helping someone get the job training they need to get a great, well-paying job, it all makes a difference. And that's what tonight is all about. It's about coming together to make meaningful change in our community. And your effort in partnership with Twin Cities United Way can have a lasting impact on thousands of people right here in the Twin Cities.
Regardless of what your passion is, we're here to build a community where all people, everybody can thrive. And tonight, you will have many exciting opportunities to make an immediate and lasting impact. Again, thank you for being here and giving us your time. Right now, we would like to welcome to the stage our Together We Thrive event co-chairs, Doug Baker, Chairman and CEO of Ecolab, and Ravi Norman, CEO of Thor Companies.
Answered that question. What's my walk-up music?
Is that the theme music?
I guess it is. Didn't know. All right, I'm Doug Baker.
And I'm Ravi Norman from Thor Companies. And it is great to be with you this evening, a very special evening. The Twin Cities is a great place to call home. With thriving businesses and low unemployment, great culture in arts and recreation, abundant and quality water, air, food, and health systems, and also great universities and colleges and schools, and of course, by tonight, wonderful philanthropy and nonprofits and civic engagement. But the Twin Cities doesn't have everyone experiencing this community in the same good life and the same opportunity. Inequities do exist. As an example of that, right here in Minneapolis, 18 neighborhoods experience double-digit unemployment in the best of times. It's part of what inspired me and my organization to invest in putting our world headquarters in North Minneapolis. Thank you. And we didn't do that as just a symbol of opportunity, but we did it because we wanted to make it be a catalytic impact to real investment. And that, I believe, aligns with the United Way, who also has invested millions of dollars in places like North Minneapolis, with organizations like NAS and Emerge and Twin Cities Rise and 21st Century Academy and partnerships like Full Lives.
You know, not everyone we know has got the same opportunity or same situation in this community. And it's easy to forget that we have a lot of people in need. Today, if you look out at the Twin Cities, we have a great economy, but we still have 1 in 4 people in our community living in poverty. We also have a lot of other issues, homelessness. So we've made a lot of progress in homelessness, but we still have 7,500 people experience this every night. There are a lot of issues in this community that we need to resolve. We also have big disparities in education. So we talk often about one of our big advantages is our educated workforce. Yet, we have the widest disparity between African American and white outcomes or Hispanic and white outcomes in our high schools. If we don't fix this and we don't get after this, we are creating a situation where there's a complete unequal opportunity situation, which long-term and near-term is a huge, huge issue for us. We know that there's a lot of things that we can do. United Way has always taken a very holistic approach to these issues, and it's the only approach that fundamentally is going to get after it. I've had the opportunity to work on several issues. Probably the one that's resonated most with me over time has been early childhood education. I really got into it because of Julie. Julie's my wife, who's also on the United Way board, but Julie got interested in early childhood education when we moved back from Germany to North Carolina, and she was seeking and looking at preschool options for our oldest child, then our only child. Well, I guess we had two. It's hard to keep straight.
I think you better keep track of that.
Exactly. So when we went through this, Julie really did a lot of work, but what we ended up understanding is there is such a fundamental difference in pre-K preparation. Fast forward, we moved to Minneapolis many years later. We're here. Julie goes back to get a certificate in early childhood. I join a group called MELF, Minnesota Early Learning Foundation. This is a group, United Way, partially led, University of Minnesota, Fed, Assistant Chair Art Rolnick, Cargill led with Warren Staley at the time, General Mills, myself, and others. And it was a wide learning experience. What did we learn? There's a lot of issues, and it's not one silver bullet that's going to save the day. We knew that we had to make sure that kids were getting the right stimulus from day one because brains are formed from 0 to 3. We knew that you can't think of daycare as babysitting, you got to think of it as early education. We knew that we needed to fund people with scholarships and provide the type of information through Parent Aware. It was a holistic solution. But we also learned that the market was too small. There weren't enough great early childhood centers to accommodate the need. And so United Way stepped up and did an accreditation program. Julie also, I think, co-chaired that effort. And what was so important about that was we ended up creating 280 more accredited institutions, meaning it went from babysitting to early learning, high quality early learning education, which gets kids ready for kindergarten, which we know is an important precursor to success in school. It takes a complete comprehensive view to solve these issues. That's the role United Way plays so importantly as we go through this. So we're happy you're here and to understand United Way's role because I think it's vital for the future of this community, and we aren't going to solve these problems unless we do it holistically and together.
That's a great point, Doug. In order to build an even stronger Twin Cities community, all people have to have the opportunity to reach their full potential. This means building pathways to equity and prosperity for all, transforming our community from a place of need to a place of abundance, from no place to live to welcome home, from empty cupboards to green gardens, from starting behind to head of the class, from living paycheck to having more than enough. And it means everyone can realize success, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, income, and the neighborhood you come from.
So there's a lot of need, we know that. We're also a community full of caring people, and we've shown that. We're a community of problem solvers. We want systems to change, and we get after it. So we're a community who's not going to leave people behind. But we have to understand this opportunity inequality, because fundamentally, that's the gap that we've got to solve. So when we're successful, it means a brighter future for every child, every neighbor, and every person who calls the Twin Cities home. So thank you for joining us.
Together, we thrive.
Thank you again, Doug and Ravi, for sharing your reflections. There is certainly a lot of work to be done to help the 1 in 4 people in our community who are experiencing poverty. I'm so glad that so many of you are here tonight as we work on this mission. And now to share more about how United Way is building pathways towards prosperity and equity for all, please welcome to the stage now United Way Senior Vice President of Community Impact, Akua Ellis, and United Way Board Chair, Tim Welsh.
Thanks very much. It's really a privilege and pleasure to welcome all of you here tonight on behalf of the United Way Board of Directors. We are incredibly grateful, really appreciate all of you being here tonight and sharing an evening with us so that we can learn more about how to help this special community.
Good evening. It's a beautiful sight, and it's been an incredible year. Since joining the United Way in this past spring, we've done so much together. I've been astounded by the incredible talent and the passion of my colleagues, and I've also been motivated and inspired by the mission of the United Way. As you just heard from Doug and Ravi, the need that exists is very real, and I know that it weighs heavy on many of our hearts and minds. I want you to know that the United Way has a long-standing history, and many of you in the room know that, of working to foster immediate and long-term change. A recent example of this has been our work in responding to the encampments that have risen up of unsheltered individuals in South Minneapolis and downtown St. Paul. Our deep relationships within culturally powered community organizations has allowed us to quickly respond and assess the work that is already underway to determine a response that honored community leadership already underway and support sustainable relationships or solutions. In essence, we didn't just swoop in with the complex thinking we were going to save anyone. We waited to understand what it was that folks who were on the ground were doing and then aligned our resources to support their leadership. I want you to know that we've grown more aware as a community, and many of you know this as well, about our opportunity gaps. We've also grown a little bit more willing to talk about them openly. And while knowing is half the battle, any G.I. Joe fans out there? No? All right, I'll keep it going. We've got to actually act like we know, right?
And that's exactly right, Akua. And as I look across this room, what I'm excited about is I've met so many people tonight who are associated with United Way and so many people who haven't been but are eager to hear the stories, just like the ones that you've been telling. And it's really a symbol of this community, I think, that people would come out and be so generous, willing to talk about all of this. I think a couple things we want to talk about with regard to the United Way is we are all aware, as Doug and Ravi and Akua have just talked about, that this is a community that faces significant challenges. We are all aware of that. And as Akua just said, we're trying to be very clear in talking about those. But we also want you to know that United Way is rapidly evolving to serve those needs. And in fact, in the last year, we completed a strategic plan that we described as the next 100 years, because we believe United Way can play a pivotal role in this community in helping everybody thrive in the next 100 years. And as part of that, we're doing innovative new things with donors and with our nonprofit agencies, and Akua is going to talk a little bit about that. But things with donors, for example, we're moving into the digital age. We've got a partnership with Salesforce to provide digital services so that people can access all the information we have and lots of other community resources so that if they want to give time, treasure, or talent, they can do that in new ways. So we are really evolving to make sure that we are well positioned to address the needs of this community. But also I would highlight that it's very tempting as we think about the needs of the community to think about it's somebody out there, it's somebody else we're trying to help thrive. And what I'd ask is each to remember is you never know how close to home those needs will be, how it might be a friend or a family member who needs the support of someone from United Way, or in fact, how it may end up being you. People ask me why I spend time on the United Way, and I say it's really simple. When I was an infant, I was adopted from a Catholic Charities infant home. And do you know what the #1 provider of funding to that Catholic Charities infant home was? United Way. And I think about how much better my life is because of Catholic Charities and because of United Way. And I think that's what we want to do for everybody in this community, no matter where they came from. As Ravi said, no matter what their neighborhood or their background, we want every single person to be able to thrive.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that story, Tim. I think it's an incredible example of the power of one family stepping up and the organizations that support them to do that. And that's why we're here tonight, really, is to talk about the role that we each play in ensuring that everyone can thrive, regardless of income, race, or place. You know, you all may have seen recent stories about the transition that is underway in our community impact work, and particularly really working to disrupt inequities in our community. I want you to know that however depressing some of those disparities may be, they're not inevitable, right? We have an opportunity to be change makers. All of you in this room are here tonight because you are change makers. Disparities are often the impact of inequity, right? And in order to disrupt inequity, we've got to challenge the status quo. You know, as someone who's championed equity over the years, I have frankly been frustrated in some instances that we have been in rooms where we're talking around the issue, but we're moving just at the speed of the comfort of the folks that are in charge. And, you know, and United Way is not unique to that. I want you to know that we're in the midst of a pretty incredible transformation. It's centered on equity and building bridges to pathways toward prosperity and equity for everyone. As someone who's worked as a champion for equity, I'm really proud to be part of an organization that is willing to share some of its power to move the dial and to move beyond talking to actual action. Our transformation is about being bold. We are working differently, and we invite you to come along on the journey with us. Now, you often hear people talk about giving your time, your talent, and treasure, and we'll take all three.
Yep.
But I also want you to know that it's important for you to give your voice. And you can do that by telling someone what you learned today. If you had an opportunity to visit some of the interactive stations around the room, share what you experienced in this room today. You can also share your voice and leverage your voice to be a part of changing systems. As the legislative session kicks off, we'll have a policy agenda and would welcome your engagement and your voice to lend credibility and power to that work. I want you to know that we're working across sectors to take a data-informed but community-driven solution approach. This includes direct investments, collaborative partnerships, and system change. And the shift is that we're still showing up as United Way with an informed point of view that's anchored in data and experience and expertise. We're determining the how, or the what, and leaning on our partners to tell us how they'll get there. We think there's an opportunity to really learn together through that and to lift up those learnings to the broader community. This holistic approach builds on the wisdom of our partners, the wisdom that they've gained through practice, as well as leveraging the expertise of the lived experiences of the people that they serve.
Aku has described what it is a really exciting time at United Way. We are enormous opportunities to help in this community, and we are changing rapidly to be a part of that. It's really fun to be on this journey, and really grateful to all of you to be here tonight. I don't know if you know, this is the first time we've tried something like this because we wanted to expose so many of you to the story of United Way and the story of our community and how we improve and help everybody thrive. And because this is an experiment, our board of directors underwrote this entire evening. So that, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So, because we're so grateful for you being here, and all the funds that we therefore raise will go directly into our community to help them. So thanks again for being here tonight. We are really excited for where we can all working together collaboratively, how we can make this a more special community where every single person thrives. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Tim and Akua. Tonight really is about possibilities and potential for everybody in our community. And what better time to start unlocking the potential of people in our community than right here, right now? Through the brand new Community Impact Accelerator Initiative, 3 local nonprofits will have an opportunity to do just that. Please welcome now to the stage from the Boston Consulting Group, Ari Tower, and United Way's Director of Community Engagement, Leslie Wright.
Good evening. I'm Leslie Wright from United Way. And last January, we came together with the Boston Consulting Group, BCG, to launch the Community Impact Accelerator, a brand new initiative built to equip and empower Greater Twin Cities nonprofits to bring innovative projects to life through funding and expert consulting.
Thank you, Leslie. I'm Ari Tower with BCG. Over the last few years, BCG has been seeking additional ways to connect with our local community and contribute in new and meaningful ways. So we're thrilled to have the opportunity to partner with United Way on this unique community project. United Way launched a request in June for proposals, and throughout the process, projects have been evaluated for innovation, social impact, equity, economic sustainability, scalability, and long-term mindset. Out of the launch, we had 31 submissions, 7 semifinalists, and ultimately 3 finalists, who were selected by a panel of business and community leaders. Our 3 finalists are here tonight to present their projects to you, live from this stage. So you'll have the opportunity to vote for the first, second, and third place finalists.
Third place will receive $15,000 in funding. Second place will receive $35,000, and first place will receive $75,000 and individualized project support from BCG in 2019. We are thrilled to be able to support organizations like the 3 finalists here tonight in a new and exciting way, one that involves you, our audience, and your voice. Tonight's funding is made possible the same way our grant making is made possible, from generous donors like you and through our corporate partners. Thank you.
All right, that is exciting. So here is how this is going to work. Each finalist will have 4 minutes to present their project. Once we've heard from all of our finalists, you will receive a text message with a link. And we want you to follow that link, and for a $10 donation to United Way, you can cast your vote. Each person is limited to 1 vote, and all donations received through the voting will go directly back into our community by supporting nonprofit programs in jobs, education, and basic needs. We'll tally all the votes and announce the winners at the end of the program. Are you ready to get started? Yeah? Ready to do this? All right, well, please help me by welcoming to the stage right now our first Community Impact Accelerator finalists, Michelle Orovitz and Princess Titus, co-founders of Appetite for Change.
Why should you have an appetite for change? Because if it doesn't mold when it gets old or it isn't fresh, it just shouldn't be sold. That's a violation of our health codes. And we all know, but sometimes we still eat it though. It's unbelievable. I'm rooted in the hood, watch my seeds grow. I'm fresh as kale, that's that green flow. I thought about it one weekend, like, what am I eating? Cause the burgers at McDonald's compared to my mama's, yeah, I swear it ain't the same. And that's real, no process. Some see a food desert, we see progress. But we thrive for more, putting healthy foods in every corner store. From mines to yours. I never had this mind state before. I had to make the change, and that choice is yours. I got an appetite for change.
Appetite for Change is a nonprofit social enterprise in North Minneapolis. Our mission is to use food as a tool to build health, wealth, and social change. In 2012, Princess, our co-founder Latasha, and I brought over 400 Northsiders together to cook, eat, and dialogue about the change that we wanted to see in ourselves, our families, and in the Northside community. Since then, we've implemented the community's vision and grown from just an idea to almost a $3 million social enterprise that trains youth and adults within our 5 food business lines.
One of those businesses is Breaking Bread, our restaurant and our catering that houses our Adult Training and Opportunity Program, or ATOP. This is what we'll talk to you about tonight. ATOP is Workforce Development Program, providing culinary arts, food safety, customer service, and soft skills to people who face multiple barriers to employment. After 8 weeks of paid training in the classroom and on the job, they receive their food manager certification, transitional employment opportunities, where they receive a higher wage and internships while they search for permanent employment.
There's only one culinary school left in the Twin Cities, if you can believe it, yet the food industry is innovating and expanding. Business owners are unable to find dedicated and trained employees, yet there's still a huge demand for service jobs. This industry is the perfect workforce entry or re-entry point for people who have issues like a history of incarceration, homelessness, substance abuse, or lack of employment experience altogether. While the need for skilled workers is growing, cities are raising the minimum wage. Industry wages are going up in general, and this is a proven model in other parts of the country.
We're following in the footsteps of some of those groups like Homeboy Industries and DC Central Kitchen, who have demonstrated the scalability and the sustainability of our model. But this isn't just about jobs. Breaking Bread Cafe is a community-owned space that builds social capital and cross-cultural connectedness. We're increasing access to nutritious, flavorful, made-from-scratch food in neighborhoods that lack the choices that we all deserve.
Over the past 3 years, we've trained and employed over 100 adults at Breaking Bread, most of whom who've gone on to higher paying jobs in the food industry. This grant is going to allow us to bring on the staff necessary to track trainees after they leave us and provide placement and retention services for participants, while also partnering with agencies in the community that can provide support services to our trainees that we just can't. An example of our success is Chantrice. One of our trainees, she started out as a dishwasher in ATOP, then moved to cooking on the line and in the catering department. She left to go work at other Twin Cities restaurants, but of course came back to the Breaking Bread family this year. In January, she's going to be appearing on the nationally televised sensation MasterChef. What's up now, Gordon Ramsay?
This grant will make a meaningful impact in the lives of our participants and the growth of our efforts. But what's needed even more is the technical assistance that BCG can provide to help us formally launch and scale ATOP. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you, Michelle and Princess from Appetite for Change. Now, please welcome to the stage Executive Director Kathy Mays and Director of Operations Kylie Benson from Loaves and Fishes, Minnesota.
Good evening. Last fall, I was at a meeting called the Healthy Meals Coalition. As we introduced ourselves around the table, the gentleman to my left said, "I've never been here. I don't know why I'm here, but I do know the children at our shelter are not getting good, healthy food." I took out my business card and I slid it to him and I said, "We can help." I quickly learned that small nonprofits throughout the metro had this very same concern. They were paying retail rates and they were eating processed foods and serving processed foods to their children and to their participants. And we also knew that Second Harvest Heartland was having a hard time with small orders. We rose to the challenge. Just this year, we successfully completed a pilot program and became the first and only redistributor in Minnesota of Second Harvest. The hub was created. It expands all of our work into a more diverse population and supports programming to programs like addiction recovery, trauma counseling, homelessness, all while staying true to our mission as a meal program.
Our solution is enabling nonprofits to shop for smaller amounts of healthy food for their in-house meal programs. No minimum weight requirements for food orders. Everything is available at just 9 cents per pound. Order online and pick up when needed. And during the Minnesota growing season, our farm fresh produce is available, fresh herbs, cherry tomatoes, and spinach.
Our partners that we have already are experiencing a cost savings of up to 80% of their annual food budget. 80%. That savings allows Ang Dai Young to focus their outreach to house more Native American children, Metro Hope to bring in more youth, Peace House to serve additional meals, and Avenues for Youth to enhance their resources that curb future homelessness. I have to tell you, I am so proud of the Hub. It is bringing good food to good programs, and we are changing communities and improving lives.
Today we are currently partnering with 18 nonprofits, with 22 more in the pipeline. I just took 9 calls yesterday. The need is very clear. I lead knowing that we can partner with more than double the partners in 2019. I tell Kathy often, we're gonna definitely need more trucks, and we possibly might need a train. I kid, but the need is that real.
I want to tell you a story. We partnered early with a program called Sarah's Oasis. It's a 30-bed shelter for women who are in trauma. I watched the coordinator come to our warehouse, choosing a crate of pears, apples, meats, and cheeses, and I followed her back to the shelter because I was curious. Would it work? How would it work? What would the impact be? I arrived at the shelter to find only 5 pears left in the crate. The women had desperately grabbed as many as possible. They were fearful that there would not be enough. Fast forward this a few months later, and because of the Hub, food security has been created. Each and every week, day in and day out, the women are now only taking the pears they need, confident that there will be more. I want to celebrate this and that we have just scratched the surface. With over 100,000 meals we've served through organizations like Sarah's since February. They're doing amazing work, and I believe that food is medicine. It really is. And our story is exciting, and the sky is the limit. We need Boston Consulting Group to come along with us and make sure that we are scaling this work responsibly. As we grow and invest in the Hub, we are making certain that other nonprofits and their participants, like the Women's at Sarah's, are not just surviving, they're thriving, really thriving. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy and Kylie from Loaves and Fishes, Minnesota. Now, time to hear from our final finalists this evening. Please welcome to the stage Executive Director Amanda Jansen from Rev Academy.
As an educator, my entire career has been in pursuit of transformation, and there is nothing more transformative than working with young people. But in hindsight, the majority of my career focused on what I brought to the field, what I had to offer. Did I impact students? I know I did, but I also missed opportunities to engage students as problem solvers in their own education. I'm the executive director of Rev Academy, a small nonprofit with ambitious dreams. We are working to reduce educational disparities so all students can reach their full potential. Tonight, I'll share how our project, Emergent Teaching Methodology, is amplifying the voices and ingenuity of youth across 7 Twin Cities schools. With your support, we can continue our work and scale our project for the future. We already know that school does not engage everyone equally. Emergent teaching methodology disrupts the current educational model to change that. Here's how. In classrooms from North Minneapolis to White Bear Lake, instead of teachers choreographing every single moment, we are asking students to step forward and design their learning experience. Our approach uses strategies from the business world, including agile project management, to help students take ownership of their education. First, they work with their teacher to set ambitious academic goals. Then, they work backwards to plan out the steps that will lead to their goal. Finally, they use agility, collaboration, and ingenuity to design and be responsible for their daily learning experience. Emergent teaching methodology cultivates students as leaders, not just of the future workforce, but in the classroom right now. In one classroom using our approach, the attendance rate increased from 65% to 95% in a single semester. And when measured across schools, students have grown in confidence, autonomy, and grit. Grit is the ability to persist despite obstacles, which is exactly what young people need as they navigate learning in life. Emergent teaching methodology gives the responsibility of learning back to students to better prepare them for the world outside of school. You may be wondering what teachers think. One educator told us that Emergent frees up her time so she can shift her focus from lecturing students to working alongside students, the very reason she became a teacher in the first place. Another teacher said, most methodologies start with the assumption that students need to change their behaviors or learning styles. Emergent is radically different in the assumption that youth start at amazing, and with additional tools, their possibilities become amazing. This way of working also resonates with students. Shaquila, a student from North Minneapolis, said, I'm better at sharing ideas and collaborating with others to make that idea better. Now, I'm able to step back, take input, and plan something in great detail. Another student, Brian, said, I don't usually step into leadership roles. I let other people do that. So at first, I was nervous, but now I feel it's definitely going to help me in the future. We are all stakeholders in this change process. What happens in our classrooms should matter to all of us because it's not about the field of education. It's about our community. So let's stop approaching systemic change in education like I did through most of my career. An adult sitting in a room with other adults creating solutions for students. Rather, we need students to drive change and create solutions with us. With your support, we believe emergent teaching methodology will be a game changer. Together, we can fight for the highest possible good in our schools and in our community. Thank you.
Thank you to Amanda from Rev Academy. All right, time now to give a big round of applause to all of our Community Impact Accelerator finalists. They all had great presentations. Okay, now it's time for you to get to work. We want you to check your phone for the link to cast your vote for your favorite project. And remember, all of the donations made through the voting process will go to the United Way and our community as we work together to try to fund the great work of nonprofits across the metro area in jobs, education, as well as basic needs. So go ahead and vote. right, how'd it go? Did you vote? Did you work it out? Good. Again, I want to say thank you to all three of our amazing finalists. We will announce the results of the voting at the end of the evening. And now in just a few minutes, we're going to hear how much we collectively raise. But first, though, this is very exciting. It is time to announce the results of our Community Impact Accelerator Awards. We do have the results. And to give you that great news, I want to welcome back Ari Tower and Leslie Wright.
We've tallied the votes for our Community Impact Accelerator Award. The finalists are back to, and I am back to announce the results.
It's a privilege to be a part of supporting innovative organizations like the three finalists that you heard from tonight. So thank you for casting your votes. As a reminder, our third place finalist will receive $15,000 in funding. Second place will receive $35,000, and first place will receive $75,000 in an individualized project support from BCG in 2019.
Please join me in congratulating our finalists. In third place, to receive $15,000, let's hear it for Rev Academy.
Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Come on. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Hey, uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Say, uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Hey, uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Come on. Uptown, funk you up.
In second place, to receive $35,000, congratulations, Loaves and Fishes.
Party over us, out of time. Tonight we're gonna party like it's 1999. 1999. 1999.
All right, and first place to receive $75,000 in consulting support from the Boston Consulting Group. Please put your hands together for Appetite for Change.
Put your hands to the hey girl, what you trying to do? Want to try to do 24-karat magic in the air. Head to toe, so play it. Look out! Hey, what y'all trying to do? Want to try to do 24-karat magic in the air. Head to toe, so play it. Look out! What y'all trying to do? 24-karat magic in the air. Head to toe, so blue.
Congratulations to Appetite for Change. Congratulations to all of our winners. What a great night. Was that fun to see that? Everybody's a winner. Thank you to everyone who came here tonight, who gave us your time. Thank you for voting and being part of fueling innovative projects here in our community.
Oh, our turn? Well, I got a few thank yous. I don't know. I'm not going to read the script. Couple of things. I want to say thank you first to Trent and the whole United Way organization for all you do every day, for putting on this and everything else. Thank you. I also want to thank CHS for stepping up and matching all new donations. It's a huge contribution, and we appreciate the support, everything you do all the time. So thank you, CHS. All right, Ravi.
Drum roll.
Drum roll. So we did raise some money tonight. we have interesting accountants here, but I like this. Over $245,000. It says it right here, so it must be official. I also like to thank Angela. Thank you very much for being here tonight. You played a great role. We appreciate all your support tonight as well. And the band. You guys are good. Ravi and I were talking about doing a number tonight, but we're out of time. So unfortunately, that's going to be next year, which is the hook to get you back.
No question. So once again, Doug left me 30 seconds. All I really want to say is thank you for all of your generosity. This is going to be transformational for thousands of people right here in the Twin Cities, and we can do this together. Thank you and have a great night.